Michael J., the Whig Tory, February 2, 2025. Now, in response to Trump formally imposing tariffs on two of the long-standing trading partners and allies of the United States, Mexico and Canada, Canada came back with their own tariffs in response. And one interesting thing that came about that interaction, or back and forth, call it a Wimbledon volley back and forth, Greg Abbott of Texas, Republican, weighs in. Like, come on, Greg. What's going on? You know, you got nothing better to do. Can't you just help, be a good governor, and help people? Or is that beyond your comprehension? Maybe it's beyond his comprehension. He doesn't understand what it is to be governor and work for his people. So anyway, Greg Abbott, let's go to the main screen, threatens Canada. He says, careful, Trudeau. The Texas economy is larger than Canada's, and we're not afraid to use it. Like, what is it with these friggin' people? You just like causing pain and suffering? You gotta understand, Texas took away the ability for millions of workers to actually get overtime pay. Actually work overtime and get paid for overtime pay. The state of Texas outlawed it. Like, what kind of people are running these states? It's a Republican state, by the way. And then here's a response from another guy. Just in, Canada is planning to target Republican states in retaliation for Trump's tariffs, per New York Times. And the guy says, bring it, Justin Trudeau. You're about to learn the definition FAFO. President Trump's going to make an example of you, or out of you. Like, what is this blind allegiance to a dictator? This guy, Nick Sorter, Greg Abbott, which is the governor of Texas, cannot think for themselves, have no ability to differentiate between what is good and what may not be so good. This is where we really have a problem, using thought and reason. Here's another guy off to the right here, painting service. GTA. Trump is saying that Canada's broke. Yeah, well, Trump's the number one liar in the world based on statistics. If it's broke, why he want it? It's easy to understand. USA did the same thing to Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan. Let's be clear on something. You went to war with Iraq. You lost the war. In the end, you lost the war with Iraq. Afghanistan, you lost the war to Afghanistan. Trump gave it back to the Taliban. You went to war with Vietnam. You lost the war to Vietnam. And so now this guy says, now is our turn, Canada and Greenland. Like, are you that dense, that ignorant, that you're not able to make assessments of what is appropriate or not appropriate? Are you going to deal with your family like that? They need help, you're just going to friggin' beat them up and leave them, kick them to the curb? And then he says, but the worst thing is that we have support, USA and their politics every step. You really got to question that support. You really need to question what motivates you to think like that. You really need to question why you think it's better to build walls instead of building bridges. 1930, The Smoot-Hawley tariffs caused the Great Depression under a guy by the name of Herbert Hoover. The United States brought the whole economic system of the world to its knees. Furthermore, 2008, the financial crash, because of actors of Wall Street, brought the world economic system to its knees. Why does the world have to pay for every mistake the United States of America makes? Are you not good people? Do you not want to do good things for you, your families, and your country? Other people, families, and their country? This is how you prosper around the world. Everybody prospers. You get more by working together and building bridges than you do by building walls and warmongering. Like, it's not a good thing, folks. You really do not get it. So now we're going to pivot. And Occupy Democrats did a very good video. David Radish quotes the Wall Street Journal, their response immediately after the tariff imposition by Trump. And here's the other thing. Trump makes up all these excuses why he's doing these tariffs. Has to use the Emergencies Act of the government in order to do it, to bypass Congress. And then he says, well, there's nothing anybody can do to stop these tariffs going into place. Like, he makes up these false accusations, has no merit whatsoever. So let's look at what David Radish is saying here. Occupy Democrats. And let's switch to the other screen again.
Well, so much for a weekend ceasefire. The Wall Street Journal has dropped a bomb on Donald Trump. Again. I'm David Reddish. Welcome back to Occupy Democrats. The Wall Street Journal, paragon of conservatism and economic health, has broken with tradition since Donald Trump returned to office on January 20th. You may recall that within 24 hours of Trump's return to the White House, not to mention his pardoning of January 6th insurrectionists, the Wall Street Journal editorial board broke with tradition, something ever common in the Trump era. In a January 21st opinion essay, the Wall Street Journal editorial board blasted Trump for his pardoning of violent January 6th insurrectionists, singling out the crimes of 10 or so of the prisoners in question. Their offenses ranged from tasing Capitol Police, attacking police with chemical weapons, and beating officers. One offender actually brought a hockey stick adorned with the Trump flag and proceeded to wield it like an axe. Now the board is even more angry with Trump, but this time for very different reasons. Amid a week that saw Donald Trump blame DEI for a tragic plane crash, make offensive jokes about the wreckage site, create mass chaos by trying to freeze grant money, and illegally firing scores of government employees, the Wall Street Journal editorial team has yet another dereliction of duty in mind. And no, it's not because Trump went golfing in Florida after launching an attack on Somali soil, or because he ignored another civilian plane crash in Philadelphia. No, the ever-frugal editorial board has blasted Trump for yet another ludicrous policy, this one for imposing 25% tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico. The piece in question...
And here's the headline. So this is the Wall Street Journal. The dumbest trade war in history. The previous one was Smoot-Hawley tariffs of 1930 under a president by the name of Herbert Hoover. Now the Wall Street Journal's opinion, it's an editorial board opinion, January 31, 2025. The dumbest trade war in history. Trump will impose 25% tariffs in Canada and Mexico for no reason. And I showed you the tweet by Greg Abbott of Texas, how he looks at things. And then a couple of the people that also tweeted to support Greg Abbott. Like, you really have to question the mentality the lack of ability to use prudence in your affairs. People just want to just hurt other people and take other lands. Now, all of a sudden, the USA and its people, based on what we've seen in a post by Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, they feel insecure and they gotta steal and be robber barons. That's really what it is, stealing and being a robber baron.
Dubs Trump's tariffs the dumbest trade war in American history. It goes on to pummel the commander-in-chief for border fees that make no sense at all. Mexico and Canada, the piece notes, are two of the United States' closest allies. To offer a bit more perspective, Trump imposed a 10% tariff on goods from China. Even the most apolitical person knows that China is the...
But that's the other thing that you notice he scrolls down a bit too quickly for me to stop it. But the thing is here, this reminds us of the old Bernard Lewis joke that it's risky to be America's enemy, but it can be fatal to be its friend. Like, really? Is that your legacy? Is that how you want to be seen by the world? Like, something's seriously wrong here, folks.
Even the most apolitical person knows that China is the U.S. biggest rival when it comes to exports and trade. The piece revives an old joke. It's risky to be America's enemy, but it can be fatal to be its friend. These are the times in which we live. The essay notes that Trump's justification for the tariffs is the flow of illegal drugs, namely the opioid fentanyl, into the United States. The essay further notes that Trump's logic is beyond flawed. Most of those drugs don't come into the country through Canada, and even those that come through Mexico don't come through official channels. That makes imposing fees on legal goods make even less sense. These are products Americans depend on. Adding tariffs does nothing to punish Canada or Mexico, it just increases prices paid by everyday Americans for everyday goods. The essay notes that the tariffs are most likely to affect automobile parts, since more than half of those come through Mexico or Canada. Produce and other farm goods will also rise in price. Establishing these tariffs also opens up the United States to retaliation from Mexico and Canada. In 2009, for example, Mexico slapped a 90% tariff on California wines, soy products from the Midwest, and produce from the Pacific Northwest. This was in response to a modest tariff established and later scrapped by the Obama administration. In other words, Americans, warns the Wall Street Journal, should brace for some major price hikes and some major losses in export revenue.
And as I've also mentioned, under Herbert Hoover, which a lot of these tariffs are modeled after, and also McKinley, for some reason Trump's read a book about McKinley, and he's got McKinley tariffs on his brain now. Smoot-Hawley, under Herbert Hoover, 1930, was considered the cause for the Great Depression. It was considered the reason why the Great Depression lasted so long, because of those tariffs. Because of tariffs.
It would be easy to dismiss these tariffs as Trump just wanting to wield power for power's sake. They also could be explained away as a general stupidity of Donald Trump, and I wouldn't rule either out in this case. But part of me wonders if this is purposely designed to hurt the American people. Trump and his current brain, Elon Musk, have previously adopted policies and stances that seem designed to hurt everyday Americans. I'm reminded of this clip of Musk's interview with Bill Maher. Check this out. This is from a year ago.
I think you're right about almost everything. I mean, let's have more babies and raise them on Mars. I don't get that, but okay.
Well, I just think we should be cautious about civilizational decline and we have plummeting birth rates most places, yeah.
Right, and also plummeting resources. I mean,
resources will be fine.
But they're not fine.
And I know a lot about
They're not fine now.
No, look, I'm not suggesting complacency. We do want to move to a sustainable energy economy as quickly as possible, but we're not in any danger of resource collapse.
But lots of people don't have enough food or water. Water, we will run out of water. They're running out of sand.
No, Earth is 70% water by surface area.
But you can't drink that.
But desalination is absurdly cheap.
Why don't we do it then?
We do it. It is done.
You have a lot of free time.
It is done. There is a lot of desalination done.
Okay, but
there's plenty of water. This is not an issue. I want to be clear.
All right.
Now, scientists, real scientists, not super wealthy men like Elon Musk who want to steal credit from real innovators and paint themselves as some kind of genius. Real scientists have warned for the better part of a century that Earth's resources are in rapid decline. Everything from fossil fuels to drinkable water, healthy food, and livable climate. Climate change is also hastening this ecological and resource decline, as is overpopulation. Also, as we saw in the California wildfires, having enough water on the planet does no good for areas that cannot access it. So why would Elon Musk or Donald Trump push the need for population growth and the lie that we have unlimited resources? Because it makes them richer. Scarcity, as we all know, breeds higher prices, just like these new tariffs. The people who benefit from scarcity are those that control or own resources or industry. In other words, kleptocrat grifters like Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Those that own land. Those that sell crops or vital technology. The Wall Street Journal, with its commitment to wealth accrual, might not have the cojones to call that out, but that doesn't mean we can't. This is just further evidence that Trump and Musk want to steal as much as they can from the American people. That means stealing our hard-earned wealth and stealing our democracy.
So there you go. What more can we say? Now, another thing is the Midas touch, which I call the mega touch, did an interesting response. And we're going to include this also. Good old Ben Mycelis. Ben lived in L.A., had to vacate his house for a bit because of the wildfires. Like, this is just ludicrous. The fact of the matter, you allow this kind of behavior, you put a guy in position. Well, here's the other thing. Over 4 million votes were suppressed between Georgia, North Carolina, and a few other red swing states by the Republicans, suppressed by the Republicans, and they were the black vote. And you're seeing the black history being whitewashed from all the websites of the government and Department of Defense, et cetera, et cetera. You really have to wake up, folks, because this is a serious matter, and you just do not get it. You really do not get it. Like, it is a serious matter, and you got to wake up. Complacency is not going to help you now. And I'm surprised the Democrats are not pushing back, because the OMB that stops payments that are already authorized by Congress is illegal. So you got all these unlawful factors at play here that hurt everyday people. Medicaid, the reversal of the price of drugs to put it back to a higher rate for the pharmaceutical companies to benefit. The cessation, which is the stopping of cancer research and other things that helped marginalized and disadvantaged people. And you just allow this to go on. And you really think that is nice? It's good? Like, you really think that's good? You really have to question, folks. So, going to go to this video here. Trump gets rude awakening as tariffs backfire. This is Ben Mycelis. He's a lawyer by certification, a professor at one of the universities.
And all the while this is happening, here's Donald Trump saying that tariffs don't cause inflation when they're quite literally inflationary. Play this clip.
From other countries, and tariffs don't cause inflation, they cause success. They cause big success, so we're going to have great success.
And folks, during the campaign, there were, dozens of Nobel Prize winners all saying that these tariffs would be massively inflationary, cause chaos, panic, potentially a great depression bigger than the Great Depression in the late 1920s in the United States. And by the way, those were preceded by tariffs. That's the history of it. As Bruce Bartlett points out, am I the only one out here who knows that the Smoot-Hawley tariff was the principal trigger of the 1929 stock market crash and the Great Depression? We need to learn our civics, folks. But I know we do here on the Midas Touch Network, and you do.
I've mentioned this a few times and even past videos. The Smoot-Hawley tariffs under Herbert Hoover. And people just don't get it. People just do not get it.
Watching this, but it's why this network needs to grow. Hit subscribe, share this with other people so we can get the actual information out there. President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico announced powerful retaliatory tariffs against the United States. Here's the translation of President Sheinbaum's statement. Quote, "We categorically reject the White House's slander against the Mexican government of having alliances with criminal organizations as well as any..."
Okay, you see a pattern here, folks? This is where you really need to wake up. Because the Great Depression, Smoot-Hawley tariffs, and the retaliatory tariffs in response to the Smoot-Hawley tariffs caused trade around the world to decrease by about 66% or thereabouts, which caused the Great Depression around the world. You know, things aren't too bad right now. They're not perfect, but why would you crash the markets? Why would you not build bridges, modify the markets, modify how the financial system works, modify the residential and living situation in a manner that allows everybody to have their own place to live in? That helps people, that uplifts people, makes their lives better. What's this pain and suffering? Makes no sense.
Intention of intervention in our territory. If such an alliance exists anywhere, it's in the United States armories that sell high-powered weapons to these criminal groups, as demonstrated by the United States Department of Justice itself in January of this year. In 4 months, our government has seized more than 40 tons of drugs.
And here's another thing. You claim, well, we sent money to Ukraine. You didn't send money to Ukraine. You sent old stockpiles of armaments that were outdated, end of life, and charged the Ukrainian people money to fight a war against Russia. Russia invaded Ukraine, and Trump says, well, Zelensky's got to take responsibility. Zelensky did not go up to the border where Belarus was and say, hey, listen, come invade us. No, didn't work that way. Wake up, people. Wake up. Then you're going to say wokeism, just like QAnon. QAnon was a propaganda arm funded by the Russian propaganda machine to influence the American mind, and you fell for it.
Including 20 million doses of fentanyl. It has also arrested more than 10,000 people linked to these groups. If the United States government and its agencies wanted to address the serious consumption of fentanyl in their country, they could, for example, combat the sale of narcotics on the streets of their main cities, which they do not do, and the money laundering generated by its illegal activity that has done so much harm to their population. They could also start a massive campaign to prevent the consumption of these drugs and take care of their young people, as we have done in Mexico. Drug consumption and distribution is in their country, and that is a public health problem that they have not addressed. In addition, the synthetic opioid epidemic in the United States has its origins in the indiscriminate prescription of drugs of this type, authorized by the Food and Drug Administration, as demonstrated by the lawsuit against a pharmaceutical company. Mexico does not want confrontation. We start from collaboration between neighboring countries. Mexico not only does not want fentanyl to reach the United States, but anywhere. Therefore, if the United States wants to combat criminal groups that traffic drugs and generate violence, we must work together in an integrated manner, but always under the principle of shared responsibility, mutual trust, collaboration, and above all, respect for sovereignty, which is not negotiable. I repeat, which is not negotiable. Coordination, yes. Subordination, no. To this end, I propose that President Trump, that we establish a working group with our best public health and security teams. Problems are not resolved by imposing tariffs, but by talking and dialoguing as we did in recent weeks with your State Department to address the phenomenon of migration in our case with respect to human rights. She goes on to say that I instruct the Secretary of our economy in Mexico to implement Plan B that we've been working on, which includes tariff and non-tariff measures in the defense of Mexico's interest. Going back to Canada for a second, here is the Premier of British Columbia, David Eby. Here's what he's got to say. Let's play this clip.
Today we're at a crossroad, and the journey ahead won't be easy, but there is no place on earth I would rather be to face this threat than right here in British Columbia. We have everything we need to succeed: abundant natural wealth and clean, cheap energy, a diversified economy, and access to global markets. And our most important resource of all, you, the people who call this beautiful place home. British Columbians are hardworking, highly skilled, and resilient. Through this uncertainty, our government will be there to stand up for you and your family. As proud British Columbians and Canadians, we will meet this moment together and come out stronger on the other side. Together we'll fight, not fold. Be resolute, not roll over, because that's just who we are. Here in the true North, strong and free.
Democratic Congressmember Eric Swalwell says, there we have it with Trump's tariffs and his mass firing of cops who hunt terrorists. You now pay more and you will be less safe. Here is Mark Carney, the former head of the Bank of England, who right now is believed by many to be one of the frontrunners to be the next prime minister of the Liberal Party. Here he says that we need to stand up against bullies. Trump thinks we're pushovers. He does not know Canadians. Play this clip.
Canada won't bow down to a bully. And we won't stand by as tariffs hurt our workers and their families. Trump wants us to lose our cool and to cave in. That's why Canadians need to be united with the right response. Dollar for dollar tariffs against the US. A plan to buy Canadian. A coordinated strategy to boost investment and support our workers. And initiatives to make our economy work better and to diversify our trading partners. Let me be clear. This couldn't be more serious. And in moments of crisis, we need serious leadership and a serious plan. Trump thinks we're pushovers, but he doesn't know Canadians. We will always stand up for our country, and we will get stronger together.
And folks, while all of this is going on, we can't take our eyes off the fact that the team headed by Elon Musk and his lackeys.
Yeah, this is dangerous. Voight took over the payments from the OMB, which is the management board that sends payments out to the various Medicaid and various different, and veterans. They cut off even veterans. Like, it's unbelievable what they did. Unilaterally just did it without notice with the OMB. And then Musk, how this guy Musk, not even an elected official, has the authority to get into the computer system of the Office of Personal Management. You really need to wake up, folks. You're being taken over from the inside by Donald Trump and these oligarchs for their benefit at the expense of the everyday American people. And you just don't get it. It's really sad.
Have now officially taken over the Office of Personnel Management. Elon Musk has locked government employees out of their offices and computers and put the massive data set that covers every facet of the federal workplace under his control. They literally have beds and cots in the director's office. They're doing the same at the Treasury Department. Donald Trump's...
How is this guy Elon Musk getting access to the government in this manner? How are you allowing this? This guy Elon Musk. It's criminal, it's cruel, and it serves no one but the 1% and the 10%. Bottom line.
Hedge fund pick Scott Bessent to lead the Treasury Department has given Elon Musk directly access to all of your private information, all of your data, all of the data about federal employees, all of the payment systems that send the money for what.
And you got to remember, this past summer, Elon Musk and Trump from Mar-a-Lago, they're on the phone with Putin. Regularly. Each and every friggin' day. What's the plan there, Vlad? What's the plan? You just don't get it. You're going to lose the war to Ukraine? Innocent people of Ukraine suffering because of that. Innocent people in Russia that are conscripted into this war. Innocent people and families suffering because of this also. And it makes no sense. Really makes no sense.
Whether it's Social Security, whether it's medical bills, whether it's loans, IRS repayments, Elon Musk, an unelected billionaire oligarch, now has control of all of your information. If you're living in the United States, all of your private data belongs to the oligarchs now. Donald Trump took it, handed it over to the oligarchs. Musk and others are bragging about it, reposting daily Roman updates.
Oh, the Roman Empire. Elon Musk reposted. Daily Roman updates. People of Europe, join the mega movement. Make Europe great again. Folks, he's trying to influence the German elections and get the far right wing, which are leaning towards the National Socialist Nazi. Like they're so far right wing that the girl in France that has created a bit of a problem with the EU had to distance herself from the ADF that Elon Musk is trying. You know, they're trying to take over the world at your expense, and you don't get it. You really just allow this stuff to go on.
And now bringing this form of fascism to Europe, Musk is writing, people of Europe, join the mega movement, make Europe great again, posting photos of himself. Here's what I just reported on. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent gave representatives of Doge and...
Doge? Not even authorized to be a part of government. Congress never authorized that. They're bypassing Congress. They're stripping the assets out of the country. They're using it for their exclusive use. And you just allow this to go on. Department of Government, Doge. Give me a fucking break. Pardon the expression.
Elon Musk, full access to the federal payment system. Let's take a look at what our friend, Canadian Member of Parliament Charlie Angus is saying. Quote, we are in the fight of our lives, but Canadians have been called to be heroic before, and we have never been defeated. This is the time to defend our country. Finally, I'll leave you with Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. Here's what he has to say about Donald Trump. Let's play this clip.
Pardoning January 6th rioters who injured and provided injuries that ultimately killed police officers That's an attack on police. When you take away funding like they did this week from police departments across the state of Illinois and across the country, we have task forces that are working on fighting drugs and violent crime and taking out the drug cartels and gangs, right? When you take away funding from those things, you're hurting law enforcement and, frankly, ultimately leading to more crime, not less. So I think Donald Trump, it's a reckless set of policies that he's engaging in. And he, ultimately, he promised that he was going to lower costs for Americans. He promised that he was going to make us safer. And he's done none of that. And I realize he's only been in office 2 weeks, but it's gotten worse, not better. You think your prices at the grocery store have gone down in the last?
That's correct, folks. So there you go. I'm not going to watch this anymore. You got to wake up. You got to make a choice. And you got to stand up for what you believe in. And it's simple. There's two choices. You can take the path of pain and suffering to yourself and others, or take the path of joy, happiness, and living a harmonious, good life. It's as simple as that. And you really don't get it. You're so caught up in the noise and what's going on, creating anxiety. But you can make a decision today because you only live today. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not here. You only live in the present. Do you want pain and suffering, or do you want joy and happiness? It's as simple as that. Each and every one of you people can make that decision. So I'm going to leave that with you. Really not much point in beating the drum any longer. You have two options, pain and suffering or joy and happiness. It's your choice. Use discernment. Do unto others as you would do unto yourself. Good golly, I've never even read a Bible either. When in doubt, when anxiety's got you spiraling downward, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, take 3 at least. Just relax. Do what my buddies do. Take care. Love and peace to everyone. Ciao for now.